Hello everyone, welcome to another devlog. In this devlog, I'll be talking about some more updates from my game Bun Bun Bouquets. To start, I added making a going to bed prompt / UI. I started with a placeholder of a few buttons and text, and if you selected yes, it'll add a day, and if you select no, it'll just close the UI, or in technical terms, it deletes it. It spawns it every time. Later on, after I made that, I made it where it will tween when a day passes. I also neatened up how the graphics are. I didn't really like the placeholders, they were just there to get the point across. I made some nicer ones, and in general, things have been tuned a little bit since I've done this in this devlog, and also Benjamin's house is completely overhauled and looks like an actual home now. But that will be another devlog. Next, I did a little bit of art. I'm not doing a ton of art yet at this stage, but I like it more than coding, so for a break, I like to update some graphics. So for this, I changed the trees to look a little better. I also animated them a little bit after that, just with 2 frames, just to make them a little bit lively. I also updated the carrot house again, which I'll probably update all of these again in the future, but I wanted things to look a little better than they have looked for the past few months. I also changed up the grass from a plain texture with some random green dots to something a little more grassy. This look was inspired by old Pokemon games. I did not grow up with Pokemon games. I saw someone live streaming a Pokemon game that's old, and I liked how the grass looked. Okay. So they're kind of hard to see, but there's these little like bits of grass that move. You can't really see them too though. They're meant to just like subconsciously cause movement. And I also did this just so it feels like the world's alive a little bit. And I also did it for the carrot. I decided to go with no windows for now. And then I added corner edges, rounded edges, so you can have rounded corners now. So just a couple little graphical things. They're little pieces of grass are really tiny. They're really hard to see, but there's one right next to the bunny's head. But yeah, that took me a couple of hours. I just found out something last night, and I am so excited about it. So apparently, if you go here, the little 3 dots by the layers of the scene, and you go to edit effects, add 2D effects. Let's just pick like a really obvious one. Old film. And apply. Look at that. Now obviously this is a very grainy, and if I was to like apply like some kind of filter or something, I would have to make it less grainy than this. But oops, you can use this for day-night cycles. And what I used to do in Flappy Fidget, in one of the levels that I cut, you have to put an image on top and it fades in and out on a timer. But that's not really gonna work because I want this to have multiple scenes, right? So we have the inside isn't going to be affected, but we have like the woodlands, the mushroom forest, the town square. The shops probably won't be affected, but like the outdoor parts, I don't want to have an image over every one of them, and then I have to like turn it on and off to like add stuff and move stuff around. You can program with this stuff. We have Dark Night. What does Dark Night do? Oh, it's like a nighttime filter. Okay. I would have to adjust this because it makes this stuff look super blue. But see, you can do stuff like this, and I can have it fading in and out. I don't know if I could change the color. I'll have to see. But like, I'm very excited about this because this is way more efficient. Let me just open my old Flappy Fidget save so you can see what I'm talking about. So you'd have to turn this on and off. I cut a little hole so that way there would be a glow. There's so many layers of different things, and like this here bothers me, and like, I like that there is this option to do effects, so we're not going to do that. We're going to not do this anymore. We're going to learn how to use effects, because that'll be great. The next thing I added in was a day-night cycle, which was a little complicated since I didn't do my old way of making a day-night cycle. I used layer effects and created a switchboard type thing for different stages of the day. I haven't made the day equal to how long I want an in-game day to be yet, because I'm still working on the game loop. I will make an in-game day probably between 10 to 12 minutes. I believe Stardew Valley is 13.5 minutes. I could be wrong, but it's something in there. I think the most it is 14. I do not believe it's 15 minutes. But I will not have it where you pass out. I'd rather you finish your tasks that you wanted to do that day and you just can't access shops after a certain time and you need to sleep to add a day for your plants to grow. But if you want to be a night bunny, it will be allowed. I also want time not to pass while you are in the flower arrangement scene. If you want to spend an in real life hour in there after you have a ton of flowers and you just want to go for it and make a bunch of bouquets, I'm not going to be the one to say you can't go to a shop after if you start doing a flower arrangement in the middle of the day. I would recommend making that your end day task since you have unlimited time at night. You just can't get more stuff. But if you want to do it in the middle of the day, I don't want it to be where you get caught up in it and then you realize, oh frick, I can't do nothing, I have to go to sleep, and you have the stuff you want to do that day to maximize the day. I'm not going to tell you no, which isn't realistic, but you're a bunny growing flowers and selling them. It's already not a realistic game. We're not going for realism. So before I delete all of this, because I'm not using it anymore, I want to show all of the things I went through to make the growing of plants. So we have this one, which, no. We have this one, which is the GDevelop tutorial, which works if I press a key. And then we have this one, which kind of worked. And then we had this one. At the end of the day, we end up with this one. And this one works the best. It will not plant a grown seed. If you just plant one after you harvest, it resets. You can indent your growth. Everything works the way you would want it to work. So this one works the best. Each of these had a problem. The main problem was they would not link to the days passing, which is what I needed. Shout out to Nice Cream for helping me with that. We both lost our minds trying to get it to work. But yeah, this is all of the ones. And this here is me testing out what I was doing for my day-night cycle. And then when I first made it, I made it inside of the scene, and then I moved it to be a linked thing so I can link it between all of the scenes. So that's some of what I've been doing today. After all of this, it's time to make some more UI. Yay! I already had days. Now I need to make a clock. Currently, I'm working with a clock that uses colors to tell time rather than numbers. I might change that later, but for now, I like the ooblets style of clock. I might change it from a bar to a sundial type thing that uses more than colors, so the game is more accessible, but I don't know yet how I'd do that. Okay, so I made this and this, and I added to this day-night cycle that's going to change the position every time the time changes in my little switchboard. And now, if you look in the corner over here, when the time changes, like this time of day changes, that also changes. And it also stays depending where you are. I don't remember, did I put it in the house? Okay, this hasn't been updated because it hasn't been linked over here. this here hasn't been linked, so it doesn't work there. But it works everywhere else. I haven't fixed it up for in the house yet. But it works now, yay! Additionally to the clock, I added a few other things like the flower journal button, a map button if I decide to make a map, and a basket to toggle the inventory on and off when I get to making the inventory. This UI most likely will change over time to fit the needs of the game itself, but for now, I like it. And the last thing I'll talk about today is fixing up the flower arrangement scene. This since has been changed again, but I wanted to show the first change so when I get to the devlog about the second one, you will see where we started. So this is how the scene used to look, and this is how I changed the scene to look at this point in time. Not perfect or great, but easier to visualize. I did this because I was really getting tired of looking at it, and also I'm a visual person. I do not do well with words. Like, I make lists and I write out things I need to do, but like things like a traditional game design document, those actually stress me out, so I have to work around it. And instead of like writing down this is what the scene will look like, I need to have some kind of visual reference, so I just did an ugly one to start. Like I said, I have since changed this again. You will see that in most likely the next devlog, unless I decide to make something in between that one and this one. But I needed that, and I'm really happy with how it looked at the time. I much prefer how it looks now because it matches the house, because the house has been fully furnished at this point. But I will show you that in the next devlog. I have some sounds for that. This is fixed. You can walk in, and over here is what I want to show. I made this new, and if you click on this, it tweens in and out. And this switches, and the time is fixed. It doesn't make a bunch of those little lines anymore. This is doing the day-night cycle. And these are animated a bit now. Make it a little more lively. And you can walk in, and it doesn't cause an endless cycle, which is great. But I'm gonna make it where you click on the house, but going in between scenes. You don't have to click. But yeah. Also have some sounds. And with that, that is the end of this devlog. Thank you all for watching. I hope you all found this interesting. Please be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment. I would really like the robot to see that this game is interesting to people, so my devlogs will be pushed out to more people. And with that being said, I will see you all later.